This is a sea spider that lives off methane. This is a rock formation in Egypt that looks exactly like a dragon skull, complete with a glowing red eye. From deadly plants that grow eyeballs to the fact that ketchup used to be fish sauce, I'm Mike with List 25, and these are 25 simple yet mind-blowing facts to tell your kids. Let's do this one right off the bat because it is so awesome. Earlier this year, scientists discovered 3 new species of deep-sea sea spiders hanging around methane vents off the coast of California and Alaska. They are completely see-through and part of the Cercospora family. What makes them special is how they eat. These sea spiders host bacteria on their shells that literally feed on methane. The spiders then scrape those bacteria off and snack on them. So yes, they run on gas, just not the kind we put in our cars. This is the first time anyone's seen a methane-based relationship like this in sea spiders, and it might even help us understand how methane moves through the deep ocean. Up in the treetops of northern Myanmar lives another creature that has a very different kind of problem. The critically endangered Myanmar snub-nosed monkey sneezes every time it rains. They get this bizarre reaction because of their upturned nostrils. When it rains, water goes into their noses, tickles their nasal passages, and sets off loud, unstoppable sneezes. Locals say you can actually hear them from a distance on wet days. To cope, they curl up into a little ball with their heads tucked between their knees until the rain passes. It is adorable, but also kind of dangerous because those sneezes make it easier for hunters to track them. Scientists only just confirmed their existence in 2010, and with fewer than 400 left in the wild, every sneeze really does count. However, long before that monkey ever sneezed, a floating fern gave us an ice age. It's called Azolla, and 49 million years ago, it completely took over the Arctic Ocean's surface. It bloomed fast, died off, sank to the bottom, and did it all over again for almost 800,000 years. And every time it sank, it pulled more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Eventually, it dropped the CO2 levels so low that Earth started to cool, changing from a hot tropical planet to the icy one we live on now. So, in a roundabout way, a fern helped give us the frozen North Pole, the frozen South Pole, and the colder seasons we now deal with. Ancient Roman cavalry parades were basically the ultimate flex. Elite soldiers would ride out in full display, wearing helmets so ornate and dramatic they wouldn't look out of place in a video game today. One of the best examples is the Nijmegen helmet, discovered in a river near the Dutch city of Nijmegen in the early 1900s. It's about 2,000 years old and was never meant for real combat. It was all about intimidation and showmanship. Trust me, if your favorite game character has a ridiculously cool helmet, well, there's a good chance the Romans came up with it first. Of course, when it comes to jaw-dropping visuals, nature still has the edge. There's a rock formation known as Dragon Head Mountain, tucked into the southern part of Egypt's Sinai Desert, and it really looks just like a dragon skull. The eye socket, the snout, even the shape of the jaw. What makes it especially mysterious is the red glow that flickers from the eye at night. From afar, it looks like a bit of fire-breathing magic. Up close, though, it's just a well-placed campfire inside a natural cave. This spot has several myths attached to it and has become a firm favorite on Bedouin-led jeep safaris through the desert. Some say the glow marks ancient treasure. Others say it once guided travelers across the dunes. Whatever the truth is, I think the view alone makes it worth the trip. And since I'm already talking about strange and powerful landscapes, let's talk about how incredible moss is. It doesn't have roots, doesn't need soil, and yet it outperforms most trees. Moss can absorb up to 4 times more CO2 per square foot than trees, thanks to the way it pulls gases and moisture straight through its surface. That makes it perfect for places where trees can't grow, like rooftops, walls, and sidewalks. A single patch, just half a square meter in size, can trap about 1 kilogram of carbon dioxide each year. It also cools cities by releasing moisture and shading surfaces, helping fight the urban heat island effect. So, if you see some, leave it be. That little green patch is doing more than you think. Moving on. Astronomers have recently discovered a planet 140 light years away that's breaking apart piece by piece, shedding a Mount Everest's worth of rock every time it orbits. The planet, DB plus 054868b, circles its star once every 30.5 hours, and it gets so close that its surface heats up to almost 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That is hot enough to vaporize solid rock. As the crust melts and crumbles, it leaves behind a blazing trail of molten debris 5.6 million miles long, like a comet made out of lava. Scientists say it's only the 4th disintegrating planet ever found, and this one's losing mass faster than any of the others. The planet's basically unraveling in real time. Astronomers think we caught it just in time, right as it's reaching the end. Back here on Earth, a young dingo became famous after an eagle picked it up for a meal, but then dropped it into someone's backyard. I know, it sounds like something from a fairy tale, and in a way, it is. At just 5 weeks old, the pup was snatched up by a massive eagle and carried over the highlands of Victoria, Australia, only to fall from the sky and land, mostly unharmed, in a garden in Wollongong. DNA tests later confirmed that he wasn't just any dingo, he was 100% alpine dingo, a rare purebred in a region that's become full of hybrids. Named Wandy, he was taken to the Dingo Discovery Sanctuary, became an internet star, and eventually the subject of an actual children's book. His story now helps raise awareness about dingo conservation. On a totally different note, did you know that ants can talk to each other by using spikes on their bellies? We already know ants use chemicals to communicate. They put down pheromones to guide their fellow ants to their food or back to the nest, to sniff out social status, and can even use it to recognize which colony another ant belongs to. But what's less known is that they also make noise. Adult ants and older pupae have a tiny spike on their abdomen, and they rub it with their back leg to create a sound. It's kind of like crickets, just on a much smaller scale. Now, the next time you're grabbing a cold drink, take a second to check the ice. If it's cloudy and white, it froze quickly, trapping tiny air bubbles and minerals inside. But if it's crystal clear, you're looking at ice that was made slowly, usually with filtered or boiled water, and frozen from just one direction. Not the pop band. The second method pushes the impurities out of the ice in the freezing process, which is why clear ice looks better, tastes cleaner, and melts slower. Clear ice can usually be found in high-end restaurants, but you can actually make it at home too. Just boil filtered water and freeze it in an insulated container like a small cooler. Cut off the cloudy bottom and you've got yourself perfect see-through ice cubes. Your brain runs on about 12 to 20 watts of energy. That's about the same as a low-watt LED bulb. And with that, it controls your memories, movement, decision-making, and creative thought all at once, without getting too warm or needing a recharge. AI needs so much more. Training a large model like ChatGPT can use nearly 1,300 megawatt hours of electricity. That's what 130 homes in the US use in a year. And the carbon footprint? The same as 300 round-trip flights. Even once it's trained, just running the model requires powerful servers pulling thousands of kilowatts around the clock. It's not that AI is bad. It's just nowhere near as efficient as what you've already got. Alright, time to clear something up. There aren't only 2 types of twins. There are 7. Most people know the basics. Identical twins come from one fertilized egg that splits, and fraternal twins come from 2 eggs fertilized separately. But it gets weirder. There are mirror image twins, where one twin's features are reversed, like opposite hair whorls or handedness. There are chimeric twins, formed when 2 embryos fuse into one body. And in 2 confirmed cases, scientists found something in between. Half-identical twins. They shared all their mother's DNA, but only parts of their father's. Scientists believe it was because one egg was fertilized by 2 sperm at the same time. Then there's superfecundation and superfetation, cases where twins have different dads or are conceived at different times. Yeah, really. Human biology doesn't mess around. Okay, here's something a little simple. A frog the size of an M&M that absolutely cannot stick a landing, all because its ears are too small. Yep, I kid you not. They're called pumpkin toadlets, and they live in Brazil's Atlantic forest. These frogs are so small that they virtually disappear into the undergrowth, and unfortunately for them, they're absolutely terrible at jumping. Every time they try, they flail through the air, spin around like a gymnast, and land on whatever body part hits the ground first. You see, their inner ears are so underdeveloped that they can't orient themselves mid-jump, which is where balance comes from, even in humans. Tiny hairs in your inner ear sense movement and send signals to your brain. In pumpkin toadlets, the system's just too small to keep up. I should also cover the fact that you can train a cat for about 5 minutes or so. Cats have very short attention spans, like TikTok users. So most experts agree that anything past 5 to 10 minutes is pushing it. In fact, dragging out past 10 minutes can actually stress them out. But the good news is that short focus sessions work. One study using 5-minute clicker training sessions showed sheltered cats learning commands like spin and high five in just a couple of weeks. Keep it brief, keep it positive, and your cat might surprise you. Just don't expect a full obedience routine. It's not a dog show. On the flip side, we should all take a moment to appreciate modern hygiene. Because in 1890s London, sharing ice cream meant actually sharing it. Vendors sold scoops in thick little glass cups called penny licks. You'd pay your farthing, lick the ice cream straight out of the glass, and hand it right back for the next person to do the same. The glasses weren't washed between uses, just stacked and reused over and over again, even on the hottest, busiest afternoons. When cholera and typhoid outbreaks arose in the late 1890s, health officials traced some of the cases directly to those shared ice cream glasses. So, the city banned them, leaving vendors scrambling for better options. A few tried paper cups, but the real hero was the disposable cone, which made its big debut in 1904 and stuck around. Which brings me to the fact that the US keeps trying to buy Greenland. Yeah, still. Greenland's strategic position in the Arctic and its rare earth minerals make it a very tempting piece of real estate. So the idea made major headlines in 2019 when President Trump floated the purchase publicly. He brought it up again in 2025, but America's interest in Greenland goes way back. In 1868, Secretary of State William Seward, fresh off buying Alaska, proposed purchasing Greenland too. It didn't go anywhere. Then in 1910, the US offered Denmark land in the Philippines in exchange for Greenland and the Danish West Indies. That offer also fizzled. Even President Truman made a formal bid in 1946. And yet, every time, Denmark and Greenland say the same thing. No thanks. As Greenland's Prime Minister Mute Egde put it, Greenland belongs to the people of Greenland. Camels are true masters of the desert. They can safely drink salt water, something that would dehydrate most other animals. Their mouths are built tough enough to chew on thorny plants without a second thought. And their eyes? Camels have not one, not two, but 3 eyelids, including a thin clear one that lets them see during sandstorms while it keeps all that grit out. Add in the fact that their nostrils can close and their beautiful long lashes act like sand shields, and you've got an animal that was basically designed for survival. In our everyday lives, we only use about 60% of our muscle power. That's because the brain holds us back on purpose to stop us from getting hurt. But in emergencies, all bets are off. Something known as hysterical strength kicks in when adrenaline floods the system and the brain lifts those limits. That's how people have managed to lift cars off loved ones or pull off feats that sound impossible. Scientists have even documented it in both lab and real-life settings. So, you're much stronger than you think. Sticking with the theme of strength for a second, did you know that the Incredible Hulk was originally supposed to be gray? When he first appeared in 1962, the plan was to give him a neutral skin tone, something that wouldn't be linked to any particular race or ethnicity. So, he was made a nice shade of gray. And then, the printers couldn't get it right. His shade kept changing from page to page. Sometimes it was dark, sometimes light. It just stayed inconsistent. It frustrated everyone so much that by the second issue, Marvel switched him to green, and the readers just went with it. The Hulk turned green and stayed green, and nobody said a thing about it. Until the 90s, when comic historian Les Daniels pointed it out in his book, Marvel, 5 Fabulous Decades of the World's Greatest Comics. Next up, sea squirts. And before you think they're boring, let me just say this. They digest their own brains when they attach to coral because they don't need it anymore. Bet you find them a bit more interesting now, huh? Yeah. These little creatures start out as free-swimming larvae with a tiny brain and a simple spinal cord, but the moment they find a spot to settle, they anchor themselves in place and stop moving forever. Then they break down their own nervous system and absorb it as nutrients. Biologists actually like to joke that sea squirts eat their brains after getting a job. And yeah, they're not really wrong. Have you ever wondered what it would be like if animals understood us and could talk back? Well, for 30 years, an African gray parrot named Alex worked with researcher Dr. Irene Pepperberg, and he completely rewrote what we thought birds were capable of. He knew over 100 words, could count to 6, and understood how to describe objects by color, material, and shape. And I'm not just talking imitation. Alex learned to use language with meaning through something called the model/rival technique. He could tell the difference between a red key and a metal one, and still knew both were keys. Once, after seeing himself in a mirror, he even asked, "What color?" That made him the first animal in recorded history to ask a question about himself. Still, not everything in nature is so charming. In North America, there's a poisonous plant that grows eyes. Okay, not real eyes, obviously, but bright white berries with black dots in the center that make them look exactly like little eyeballs. It's even nicknamed doll's eyes. But don't let the cute name fool you. Just a few of those berries can cause your heart to stop. The white baneberry is packed with cardiogenic toxins that sedate heart muscle tissues, which for humans at least, can be fatal. Birds, on the other hand, eat them just fine and even help spread the seeds, which is probably why the plant looks so inviting in the first place. As winters get warmer, the white baneberry's range is expanding, which means it might be showing up in more places than before. So, if you see a plant staring back at you, don't touch it. Alright, this might sound completely crazy, but humans can actually smell water between 100,000 and 200,000 times better than sharks can smell blood. It's not the water itself we're picking up. It's a compound called geosmin, the earthy scent that rises up after it rains. Our noses are ridiculously sensitive to it. We can detect geosmin at just 5 parts per trillion, which is basically nothing. Sharks, on the other hand, detect blood in the water at around 1 part per million, give or take, depending on the species. It's weird, but evolution clearly wanted us to be really good at finding water for some reason. Bet you didn't see that coming. Not to be outdone, Magnolias are so ancient that they appeared before bees. So they have to be pollinated by beetles. And that partnership has been strong for over 100 million years. Magnolia blooms are big, waxy, and bowl-shaped with thick petals that can handle a little chaos. Some even smell like ripe fruit, which is basically beetle perfume. The beetles trample through the flowers, eat the pollen, and voila! So when you see one blooming in a park or a garden, you're looking at a survival strategy from the age of the dinosaurs that is still going strong. Bringing this list to a close, if you've ever felt like your dog really cares about your feelings, well, you might be right. In a recent study, researchers set out to see how dogs would react to strangers showing emotion. Each dog was placed in a room with its owner and someone they didn't know. At first, no surprise, the dogs stuck by their owners. But when the stranger pretended to cry, everything changed. The dogs would leave their owners and comfort the crying person, even though they'd never met them before. They'd nuzzle them, lick their faces, and try to help in whatever way they could. They tested a bunch of reactions, but when someone showed sadness, they always got the strongest response. Now, some say it might just be conditioning. Maybe dogs have just learned that kindness gets rewards. But out of everything those dogs could have done, they chose compassion, which says a lot. And that's a wrap. This one was definitely for the children. I hope you let us know what they think. But wait up, before you go, let's do a quick quiz. What is the name of the monkey that sneezes when it starts to rain? Is it A, Myanmar short-nosed monkey, B, snub-nosed monkey, C, club-nosed monkey, or D, upturn-nosed monkey? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're still in the mood for more, well, why don't you check out our related video, 25 facts that people just learned that are so awesome. I covered everything from the fact that the Dutch eat more than 700,000 sandwiches every day to the strange reality that half of the Cherokee Nation are related to a single Irishman. To go there now, just click the link right here. And as always, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, click that notification bell, do all that fun stuff, social media, and I'll catch you next time. Love you guys, and I'll see you later.